how to stay positive. I was basically crying every night. What's the advice you would give to your younger self? Hola, tudo bem? Arabic definitely caused me the most headache.
How did you decide to start YouTube?
If you want to change your life right now, what would you start? Good morning, guys. How are you all doing? So today I'm finally going to answer the questions I gathered from you guys a long while ago. Thanks for being patient with me. And while answering your questions today, I'm gonna at the same time take you tour around Taipei a little bit. I hope you will like it. Oh, by the way, if you don't know, I started my own podcast this year. It's a podcast that basically I talk about various life-related topics I experienced in my 20s. So if you are interested, be sure to check it out. I'll put the link in the description box below. So yeah, let's go. Now you know one weaknesses of me is how I'm like very bad at dancing. Oh my god, wait, it's been a while that I've done these things. Oh my god. Apparently I'm way too huge to do this one. So first question, how to stay positive? Surprisingly, I got these questions quite a lot, and I think it really depends on the situation. But I usually do two things. First of all, I learned to trust myself more and more. I always tell myself, if I keep going, then I will eventually figure something out. The second thing that I usually do is I will tell myself that all roads lead to Rome. So it's very interesting because I think sometimes our perspectives and what we think we are capable of doing is limited by the experiences and the knowledge we had at that moment. For example, my dream used to be, well, it's still my dream to find a job that not only pay me well, but also would offer me the opportunity to travel around the world and live in different countries. I want to make sure if my bag is still up there. At that time, I thought I can only achieve it by becoming like a lawyer, a consultant, or like an investment banker. But later, I realized that by starting my own business or being like a content creator, I could potentially achieve the same thing. So most of the time, I wouldn't be too pessimistic or be too unhappy if like a road doesn't work out, because there's always gonna be another road that can potentially allow you to reach the same destination, to get the same result you want. How to refresh your mood when you feel down? This is another question I get quite often from you guys. So when I feel down, I actually always talk to myself, and sometimes even in English. Like maybe this is how I improve my English speaking skill, maybe. So the thing is, I think it's important to let your emotions out. And by talking to yourself, for me, it helps so much. And it's totally fine if you don't have someone to talk to, because sometimes for me, when I want to cry, I actually feel more comfortable doing that if I am alone. So I can just cry if I want to. And by talking to yourself, it also helps you to sort of figure out why you feel that way. Or like sometimes I even can figure out some life philosophies, I feel like. So yeah, I really recommend you doing that. And you can do that in English so that your English speaking skill will improve as well. There's so many mosquitoes here, I couldn't take it anymore. How to be more energetic? For me, I think there are two ways. For short term, it is important to sleep well and exercise, and just try to be curious about the things around you. And in that way, you will figure that life is actually very interesting. And by thinking that way, you can naturally become more confident. And also sometimes talking out loud actually helps as well. And I think in the long run, it's important to find something that you feel passionate about, something you like doing. So if you have this like thing you really love doing in your life, then I think it will naturally just allow you to feel very energetic every day after waking up, because you just want to go do that thing so much. The reason why is it so loud here is because like this is like a very big main road in Taipei. It's called Xinyi. So Xinyi district, financial district of Taipei. So you can see that there's a tall building behind me. I'll move closer later. That building is the Taipei 101 one of our landmarks in Taipei. This one, the tall one. It's very interesting how just beside the main road, the Xinyi street, the Xinyi Lu that I just talked about, it can be like so quiet here. How's your journey? Your life exploration video touched my heart and inspired me to do the same. Still figuring my own path, but glad to know I'm not alone. Thank you for your question. So my path, my journey is actually quite unconventional. I homeschooled for 9 years until I entered senior high school. And when I was homeschooling, I didn't study any school subjects, for example, like math, geology, and just like things like that. Instead, I studied English and Chinese classics. And after that, I graduated from senior high school in Taiwan. I went to Japan for college. And after college, I left Japan because at that time my plan was to apply for US law school. So I spent a whole year preparing LSAT, which is the law school entrance exam, law school admission test, for a whole year full time. After that, I went to Europe, Germany and Netherlands for a master's degree. And after that, I was supposed to go to law school because I already got accepted. But just like what I said in my other video, I decided that it is not a career that I want to pursue. So I gave up my offer and now I'm a YouTuber. That's basically how my journey looks like. What do you do in your free time? I like to read books a lot, both fiction and non-fiction. Some of the books that I've reading lately are Unscripted by MJ DeMarco, and also Building a Second Brand by Diego Forte, and also Tonk the Cafe et Encore Chaud by Toshikazu, if I remember it correctly, by Toshikazu Kawaguchi-san. Most of the time, I will first borrow books from my local library. I'll buy it only if I really like it. Actually, I'm trying to develop some new hobbies lately, so I'm in need of inspiration. So please let me know in the comment section, like, what do you usually do in your free time? Maybe I'll try that out myself. What's your favorite book? Well, my favorite book, my all-time favorite, is Pride and Prejudice. I think not only the storyline attracted me, this book also holds a very special place in my heart, as this is the first ever difficult English book that I've read in my life. What was the hard challenge you faced in life? Well, I already shared with you one of the hard challenges I faced in life in my other video. I'm gonna share with you another one. So I remember when I was in senior high school, since as I've mentioned before, I did not study any school subjects before that. So I entered senior high school basically with elementary level of all the school subjects besides English. I'm already pretty good at English at that time. So I remember after the first exam, I was ranked the last place in my class. And it's so funny to recall because I remember at that time, I was basically crying every night because of how bad I was in most of the subjects. However, I did not give up at that time. I just kept working hard on it. And finally, after 2 years, in one of the exams, I ranked the top 10 in my class. Well, I was the 10th, but still, I'm still very proud of myself. It was hard, but it was rewarding at the same time. It's a dumpling place. We are approaching Taipei 101. Finally, we arrived in a much more peaceful place with much less noise. Well, sometimes still like motorcycles here are so loud and noisy. But anyway, before I show you around this area, this village, I'm gonna answer another question. So what's the advice you would give to your younger self? I would say being yourself. By being yourself is just gonna help so much in life, especially when it comes to filtering out the wrong people in your life and attract the right people. And I also find out that the more you're comfortable with being yourself, the more confident you would become. I forgot what I'm going to say. The more confident you are, the less you will compare yourself with others. That's also what I realized. Well, that being said, it's much easier said than done. So even for me, I'm still working hard toward it, just like being myself. So let's work hard together. Fighting! So here we are in like a small village, old village. So it used to be like village for military dependents. So basically those who serve in the military, like their families can live here. And it's just like literally right beside the financial district of Taipei. So it's really cool. If you want to change your life right now, what would you start? Good question. I think I would start by just write down all the things that I feel, like my feelings, my emotions, and also write down what I want my life to be. I think I would start by just reflecting and write everything down and see if I can figure something out, like what I want to do next in order to achieve the life that I want. Do you know some words in Portuguese? Yes. Olá, tudo bem? Meu nome é Pearly. Muito prazer. Soy de Taiwan y agora soy YouTuber. Obrigado. That's all I know. And I actually just learned it like a few days before because I want to answer these questions. What do you think about the saying, the man who chases two rabbits catches neither, and how you still manage to learn several languages at the same time? Well, I think it's nice to focus on learning one language at one time. However, for me, it's actually more fun to learn two languages at the same time because I'm not the person who can just do one thing at a time. I will get bored quickly. So it's nice to have two languages to like switch around. And I do have some tips when it comes to learning multiple languages at the same time. First of all, I wouldn't pick languages that are similar to each other. Otherwise, I would get confused so easily. On top of that, I would usually pick one language that is like easy and one language that is like difficult. So I wouldn't pick like two difficult languages to learn at the same time. That would be like so overwhelming. Well, I'm planning to do like a video talking about how I learn multiple languages at the same time. So stay tuned for that. Okay, now let me present to you Taipei 101. And just beside Taipei 101, there are lots of like newer tall buildings, like office buildings, and also big department stores, like shopping mall. However, the cool thing is, if you keep going east, over there you can see a little bit. That's mountain actually. So just behind me, there's Elephant Mountain, just like right in the city center. So it's around like 10 minutes by bike from here. So if you want to go hiking, literally in the city center, you can just go right there. Highly recommended. And another thing that I would definitely recommend you guys, if you've ever come to Taipei, is to rent a shared bike. It's called U-Bike here because it's very, very convenient, and the bike itself is very well maintained and well managed, and it's super cheap. Right now, like I think the first 30 minutes is free, and after that it's only cost you like 5 or 10 Taiwanese dollars for like an hour. There are quite many bicycle lanes in Taipei City, so it's relatively easy to navigate yourself, just like cycling here in Taipei City. So I would recommend it. I'm really hungry right now. Let's go eat something. Let's go. What made you first get into language learning, and any advice to someone who's tried and failed multiple times, who is on the verge of no longer pursuing language learning? I think I just love seeing people's face brighten up when you speak their languages, and I also feel like you feel this like instant closeness with this person if you speak him or her language. I think I just got addicted to this kind of like really cool and amazing feeling. I think if you find a way that you can have fun in your language learning process, then just like try not to give a shit about your learning result or whether you reach your goal or not, or whether you memorize, certain amount of vocabularies or not. Like, just don't give a shit about any of those things. Just try to have fun with it. Like, focus 100% on that. Then I think as long as you keep doing it, there's no such a thing as failing. And as time goes by, you will definitely improve. Yeah, I think that's my advice.
Yeah, my lunch came. So this is the dumplings with like cabbage in it. And this is the, again, I don't know how to explain that in English. And this is the soup. And this is the sauce.
In your opinion, any special reason for a person become highly interested in learning foreign languages? Do you identify any special reason in your case, any personality trait or something like that? This is a very interesting question, and I actually thought about this for like a long while. I would say curiosity in general, just like curious about different cultures, the world, people with different races, different appearance. Because based on my observation, people who are interested in learning languages have this trait. They not only care about their like surroundings, like in their daily life, but they also want to know about the world. I hope that makes sense. Did you had some difficulty to search for resources while you were learning a language? What would you do if you are interested by a language but it doesn't have enough resources? Out of all the languages that I learned so far, Arabic definitely caused me the most headache. So in that case, I looked for tutors to help me on that. Another thing is I find that sometimes it's not necessarily true that it doesn't have enough resources, but it's just like we haven't yet came across it. For example, I only learned about a textbook called Mastering Arabic very lately, after about a year into learning Arabic, and I really like this textbook. But when I first started learning Arabic, I didn't know about this textbook at all. I would say don't worry if you couldn't really find enough resources when you first start learning this language. Just use the resources you have at that time. While you keep learning, you might come across some new resources that you didn't even know of when you first started learning. So I would say, yeah, don't worry too much about that. How do you not forget languages you have learned? So the thing is, I make sure that I exposed myself to these languages every day in my life. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a sit down and learn this language kind of session or like review this language kind of session, because we simply don't have that much of time. So what I do is, for example, my main focus right now is Arabic and Spanish, right? However, I don't want to forget about my English, Japanese, and French. So what I do is, for English, it's my work language. I make videos in language, so no problem. And for Japanese, I love watching Japanese drama. So when I'm like eating lunch or like eating dinner, I always watch Japanese dramas. For French, when I'm like doing workout and exercising, that's the time when I listen to French. I think just try to incorporate your language learning in your like daily routine, and this is a great, fantastic way to prevent yourself from forgetting these languages that you have learned. Is it possible to make a living with YouTube in your opinion? Yes, I do think it is possible, but you have to work really hard and be creative. The thing is, in a more traditional job, you are working for your boss or like your company, and in return, you receive salary from them. But when you are a YouTuber, you no longer have this boss telling you what to do, so you sort of have to figure out how to make money yourself, and I think this is a pretty challenging part.
My last one. How did you decide to start YouTube?
So back in 2022, I just decided to give up on my law school offer. And at that time, I was really lost. I didn't know what to do in life. And at that time, I was like,
maybe I can go find a job again, but I was like, I didn't even know what I want to do. And maybe I can go do another master again as I'm pretty good at studying. However, same, I didn't know what I want to study at all. And it's interesting because YouTube has always been a go-to platform for me when I encounter like challenges in life. I just love listening to other stories. So at that time I told myself, yeah, maybe I can do the same. Maybe there will be people out there in the world who are interested in listening about my story. So that's basically how I started. Do you answer the negative comments and how? Well, nope, I don't answer them at all. I just ignore them. I mean, haters are gonna hate you anyway, no matter how much you explain. So what's the point? Having traveled so many places and learned so many languages, how do you be content with where you live? This is a very good question. I think after travel to so many different countries and being exposed to so many different cultures and languages, I realized that every place has its pros and cons. It's very interesting because the grass is always greener on the other side. But the thing is, no matter how amazing you think like a place or a country is, after like a longer period of time staying there and living there, you will for sure encounter some aspects that you just don't like about. What I try to do is, instead of focusing on the negative side, I just focus myself on the good sides of that country or that place. And that's basically my solution, if that makes sense. I like to travel in Taiwan pretty soon. Do you like to live in Taiwan? Are people kind over there? And do you expect to move abroad one day? It's so nice to hear that you're coming to Taiwan. Yes, I do really like living here. It's very safe, it's very clean, it's very convenient, and the foods here are really good. I think my stomach are still pretty much like an Asian stomach, so I just prefer Asian foods much more. And also I love how easy it is to access nature here. Like if you are here in Taipei, like within 30 minutes of public transportation, you can go like hiking. And Taiwanese people are actually known for being really, really friendly. So no worries on that. And do I expect to move abroad one day? Yes, I do. I am not a person that can stay in one country for too long. So yes, I do want to move abroad one day, but I'm still thinking about how can I do that and where I want to go. And last question, would you like to visit Morocco? Yes, I do. Actually, when I was in Paris back in September, I actually really wanted to go to Morocco. However, due to time and tight budget, I couldn't go in the end. I only very recently learned about the fact that many of you guys speak 3 languages fluently, right? Like English, Arabic, and French. Like that's so cool, like huge respect, you know, just by that I really want to go visit you guys, so wait for me. And that's the end of today's videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like it. And I'm so sorry, I still have so many questions that I couldn't get to. Give me 5 days, okay? I will answer them all. If you ask me under the community post, I'll reply to you at that place. And if you ask me on Instagram, I'll reply through just posting on my stories. Again, thank you so much for watching. And like every time it's like that, when I come out to film, there's always like unexpected things happen. Today, first of all, way too hot. Second of all, way too many mosquitoes. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye.